How you doing? Just sitting here by the fire trying to stay warm. It's cold out. It's cold. Cold here in Lake Tahoe. It's going to be nice to be back in Vegas where it's nice. Nice and 60. I think it was 75 yesterday, but this is what's keeping me warm. A little fire pit that my friend Flipper Manchester built for me. In fact, Flipper did all of this brickwork. He did this waterfall. We have 23 waterfalls. It's 117 foot long. One day I was up in Oregon, or one weekend I should say, and come across Tim Madden's house, and he was draining his pond, and he had his lilies and bamboo and all this really beautiful pond stuff that he was just going to throw away. And so I brought it back. I stuck it in my airplane, crammed the back of my airplane full of all of this stuff, and I rescued a whole ton of beautiful willow trees and lilies and all kind of stuff, bamboo, and you can kind of see it in there. It stays pretty green. Surprisingly, it stays green throughout the winter. I don't understand it, but I do have the house on the warmest spot on Lake Tahoe, so it stays pretty warm. Let me show you. Let me show you how the stuff stays green. I don't get it, man. I really don't. Check this out. That's vinca. And if you look underneath the vinca, I planted all this moss. And it stays green all winter long. And it kind of reminds me of like the Shire. And that's why I did all this moss, all these little mounds and stuff. But this water feature is absolutely beautiful when it's running. But here's one of the trees I got out of Oregon, John Day, Oregon, this willow tree, and some bamboo over there. But anyway, you didn't come on here today to see my green thumb ability in saving, rescuing plants. My wife rescues dogs, I rescue plants. Kind of silly. Hey, Jason, I don't know if Michelle already did it, but if you could, Jason, since you're here, post the winners of the silver giveaway. The winners are 5 winners from yesterday's video. Oh, there's the winners right there. Mark Anthony Osborne, Anna Reed, John, man, I'm not even going to try. I'm going to butcher it. Cletus Scott, and Zach Gidry, my brother from another mother. That's cool. Just so you guys know, I don't actually pick the winners. Jason does that, so he doesn't know that Zach's my brother, doesn't know a lot of these people. He puts it in the Google machine, puts in the number of people, and then he pick 5 numbers of this, and Google spits out the numbers, and bam, that's how we pick them every day. And that's why you'll see some people winning over and over again, is because they are sharing the video, they're tagging a friend, and hashtagging Fortress Credit Pro. Yes, that was you, John. I don't want to butcher your name, man. I don't want to butcher it, but yes, that was you, John. So cool. All right, I really didn't know what to talk about today, so I thought I would do a free roll Friday. A free roll Friday, and I gave away the silver, so there's 5 coins going out. Those will probably go out Monday morning. Jason doesn't need to do it on Saturday, so these 5 coins will go out Monday morning. Just DM Jason Green your mailing address, and if there is a certain design, if you wanted the 3-headed pit bull, or if you wanted the Amazon Wonder Woman, one with a nuclear bomb going off in the back, if you wanted the elk, the prospector, whatever it is. Excuse me. I still got this cold. It started coughing again yesterday. All I know is that you and I are ineligible. That's right, and Michelle can't win either. She reminds me of that every day. Where's my silver? Right? Just teasing. But she does. She's like, I want a coin. But Christmas is around the corner, right? So I figured I asked some people, what do you want me to talk about today to make this educational and entertaining? I hope it's entertaining. But more so, I want it to be good content. I want it to be good content. I want the repetition. And I want you to role play with your family members. Yesterday, I awarded a silver coin to a 10-year-old. I didn't realize Cash Madden was only 10 years old. And his mom called me today saying, I don't know what you talked about, but he was schooling us last night and educating us about credit and fractional reserve banking and the fiat system and Bitcoin, how it's a Ponzi scheme. It's the biggest bubble of all time. I read a report today. It is the biggest bubble of all time. More than the great tulip bubble. More than the tech bubble. It is the greatest bubble in the history of the world. I hope you're not planning your retirement on it. I was talking to this lady today. She put in $600 2 years ago. It's worth $60,000 today. She was smart enough that she took her $600 out. So when it does correct, she gets her original investment out. And that's the way you need to do it. If you're in that Bitcoin game, take your original money out. And if it doesn't crash, then you didn't really lose anything. But if it does, at least you didn't lose everything. But please do not invest your future on Bitcoin because it cannot sustain where it's at. At least that's my opinion. And that's the opinion of many, many economists that I follow and billionaires and ultra rich millionaires that are doing that. So I thought I would just go over some questions that people had, some topics. One was this: what you do when a collection company calls you. If you do owe some money, do whatever you can do to pay it. All right, I'm not the person to say don't pay your bills. And some people think that's what I'm saying, and that's not what I say. You need to be responsible. You need to man up. And for you women out there, woman up. You are woman, hear me roar, right? So woman up if you're a woman that is running from the collection man. Be responsible. I understand that things get sometimes out of your control. I'm not judging you if you have collections or charge-offs or short sales or foreclosures or repossessions or tax liens. I'm not judging you. I've had every single one of those things on my credit, and I've deleted over 1 million of those items from other people's credit. I'm not judging you. I'm saying take responsibility. So offer that collection company some money. I understand if you get behind on your bills. It's life, man. But take responsibility. Try, at least to try. And I know sometimes they won't accept it. They won't. They will not accept the payment. But you can at least sleep at night that you tried, right? I sure appreciate all the likes and the hearts and all that stuff. I love that, man. It's so awesome. And you know what? It's genuine. It's genuine. I'm friends with the guy. I'm not going to say his name. But as soon as he turns his Facebook on, you'd know who he is if I told you. You're probably going to know who he is as soon as I say the story. But I really appreciate the likes and the loves because I'm not asking for them. They're legit. They're for real. They're genuine. But this guy that I know of, that I'm speaking of, he has his employees, and the moment he goes live, he pays his employees to just sit there and click the loves and the likes, right? And I appreciate you guys doing it because it's genuine. I'm not paying you guys to do this, right? But this guy that I'm talking about, he actually pays a staff, a bunch of people to do it, and it's just solid likes. And he hasn't even said anything yet. It's just love all the way across. Nobody's that good. Even though he is good, but he's not that good. Excuse me. So if you owe the money, take responsibility. Offer them something. Offer them what you have. So if you owe $100 and you have $10, give them $10. If they won't take it, then you tried to do it. Don't just run from them. All right? But what happens if these collection companies call you? What are your rights? What can you do about it? Know this, I am not an attorney. So this is not legal advice. If I ever talk about taxes, and I'm going to a little bit later, it's not tax advice. I'm just an entrepreneur that has paid thousands, if not tens of thousands, of hundreds of thousands of dollars to tax attorneys, estate planners, CPAs, other tax professionals. I mean, my guy that does my taxes, in order to use him, you got to make $5 million a year just to qualify for him to do your taxes. He is not cheap. But paying taxes is more expensive than paying Kingsley. So what I'm getting at is, this is not tax advice. This is not legal advice. This is simply my opinion as a credit expert. Someone who's deleted over 1 million items from people's credit reports, from tens of thousands of people's credit reports. So it's my opinion. But you have rights. You have rights under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. You have rights under the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. You have rights under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. You have rights under the Fair and Accurate Credit Transaction Act. If you live in California, you have the Rosenthal Act, and so on and so forth. So you have rights. So what do you do if a collection company calls you? Be polite. They're people just like you and I, except for they got a really shitty job because they're trying to collect money from people who don't want to pay. But what you need to do is you be polite, you be professional, you offer them a payment. You never give them your checking account number, ever. You don't do a check. You get a cashier's check from your bank or money order and you send it to them with a receipt. Okay, so you need whatever you send, however you send them the money, you need to have a receipt or proof of payment, but not your checking account. Because if you give them a check, they now have your routing number and your account number. Okay, so you don't want to do it that way. I'll get to everybody's questions later. Thank you for asking those questions, though. But what you want to do is you want to offer them money, be professionals, be polite. But if they start getting rude on you, simply just say this. And I'm going to use Lillian because it's right here. How if it's a computer? I'm not sure what that means, but you mean the dialer. Just hang up on the dialer. I, Lillian Walker, revoke permission for you to call me. End of story. I, Lillian Walker, revoke permission for you to call me. That is what you say to them. You be polite, you be professional, you offer them a payment. If they're not willing to take the payment, I, Lillian Walker, revoke permission for you to call me. Do not ever call me again. See, they have to have permission to use a robo-dialer to call you. Let me repeat that. They have to have permission to use a robo-dialer, software, a computer to call you. They have to have permission. Where do they get the permission? They get it from you. When you sign that application, you gave them permission to call you. When you signed the application on the credit card and they sold it to the collection company, you gave them permission. Okay? If you hired me for credit repair, you would actually give me permission to use software to call you. And the reason we do that is we use a lot of automation. So when we get something deleted from your credit report, instead of us calling, which takes man hours and time, instead we'll send you a text message through our automated system. Hey, we just deleted something from your credit report. Log in to look at it. All right, that's how we can keep our prices low. If we had to physically call them, it would be extremely expensive to fix your credit. And now it's not. Bad credit's much more expensive than fixing it. But I, your name, revoke permission for you to call me. They now can't legally call you back. If they do, they're violating the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. They're violating the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, which, depending on what state you live in, federally, it's a $1,500 fine per phone call. Check that out. $1,500 per phone call. Now, I know collection companies that will call 10 times in an hour. That's $15,000 in fines. And if you revoke permission, there are attorneys out there who will take on your case on contingency, which means you don't pay anything up front. They go to court, and it never goes to court, but they file as if they're going to go to court. It settles, and they just send you a check, and the attorney keeps a portion of it. I know an attorney in San Diego. Now, let me throw this out there. I'm not saying that this attorney, what he did is right or morally correct. I'm just going to tell you what he did. All right? I'm not saying that. Just leave it at that. It's legal what he did. But ethically, I don't know if it is. I don't. It's up to you. You be the judge, because I'm not going to judge him. All right, you judge him. So here's what he did. He had a loan with Bank of America, and he had a house in Rancho Santa Fe, which is a very expensive place in California, in San Diego. Here's what he did. Excuse me. He deliberately paid his mortgage late. Deliberately paid his mortgage late every single month for 1 year. Not late enough that it ruined his credit. So he would go 20 days late, and on the 20th day, he would pay his mortgage. He did this for 1 year, 12 months, 20 days a month for 12 months. So he had 240 days of late, right? Of lateness. Bank of America would call him over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because he set up his phone where it would ring, it would pick up, hang up, pick up, hang up. And so he would literally get hundreds of calls a day. For 20 days a month, he'd pay his mortgage. First would come around, wouldn't pay it. 20 days would go by, ding, 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 ding. It's like going to the slot machines and winning. Ding, 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 ding. Every phone call, 1,500, 1,500, 1,500, 1,500, 1,500. In 1 year, $2.5 million later, he filed a lawsuit. They settled out of court. They immediately settled. They sent him a check for $2.5 million. He took that $2.5 million and paid off his mansion in Rancho Santa Fe. Now, did he do anything illegal? No. Did Bank of America do anything illegal? Yeah. He revoked permission a year ago. I revoked permission. You cannot use a robo-dialer to call me. I revoked permission. So this is not just on collections, but it's on every single creditor as well, or every business in the United States. They have to have permission. If they don't, they can't call you, man. $1,500. Just like a slot machine. Ding, 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 ding. $1,500, right? $2.5 million. Tax-free. It wasn't income. It was a settlement. And here's the crazy part, is when you file these lawsuits, they immediately settle. The reason they settle is because if the attorney asks for phone records, they're going to get every single other person they called over and over and over and over again. And now that attorney can open up a class action lawsuit. So these banks and collection companies, they simply just cut a check, man. And that's what he did. But what can you do if the collection company's calling you? You can do the same thing. I revoke permission for you to call me. Never call me again. Don't call my family. Don't call my work. Don't call my anybody. Stop calling. Be professional. Be polite. Offer there some money. Write it down somewhere on your calendar, in your phone, on a wall somewhere, whatever you want to do, right? This is what I told my mom when she was doing it. I told her, write it down. And she's like, well, I lost the paper. I'm like, then take a Sharpie and write it on your frickin' wall in the living room. That way you ain't going to lose it. And she's like, yeah, but it'll be on my wall. It looks stupid. I'm like, it don't matter. Because in about 6 months, this place will be paid for, right? She didn't do it, though. She had a moral issue with it, which, fine. Not judging. So that's how you handle collection companies. If they're calling you, just tell them to stop. You know, if you don't want to deal with it, just tell them to stop calling you. Offer them some money. If you find value in my videos, please share it. Tag a friend and hashtag Fortress Credit Pro, and you'll be entered into a drawing to win some real money. Like the prospector here, the dude with a bear on his head, Noah's Ark. Oh, this is the one. This one's cool. Check out this lady. There's a nuclear bomb in the background. She's got this huge ass sword, cool hair, big boobs, and she's like holding some dude's head, right? And it's the Saint 250, and it's the original, the official currency of the apocalypse. And check that out for all my women out there. It's like Wonder Woman holding some dude's head, right? How do you prove you... Oh, that's a great question, Lillian. Thank you for that. How do you prove that you revoke permission? You don't have to. They have to prove that they had permission. And the moment that you say, I revoke permission, and we'd like to see the phone records, that's when they start squirming in their seats. Because they don't want to release the phone records. So they just, what most of them do is they just cut you a check. They know the fine's $1,500. So you work it out, okay, fine, $750. Yeah, you called my client 1,000 times. Give me $750 per phone call. You get $750,000. The attorney gets a portion of it, right? And some of these attorneys don't want it to go to millions of dollars. They just simply want a couple $100,000. And there's lots of these law firms across the United States that do that. I think the one you got, Lillian, is the Methuselah. No, not Methuselah. The chick with the octopus things hanging out of her head. I think that's the one you won. This is just another version of the apocalypse on the back of it. All right. What else should we talk about? How do I grow a big beard? Well, I just didn't shave. Last time I shaved was on my birthday, November 3rd. And I just haven't shaved. Methuselah, right? The Methuselah is... I'm thinking about the dude in the Bible that lived like 1,000 years and never died. The only dude on the planet in the history of mankind that never died. That's Methuselah.
You got the Walker coin.
Yeah, she got the Walker coin with the Medusa thing on it. Medusa. No, I'm all screwed up. Where was I? I lost my train of thought there for a second. Somebody remind me. See, that's what happens. This is why I'm not driving right now. Ooh, that one is warm. So that's how you handle collection company. Just tell them to stop calling you. That's really it. Same thing with creditors. The beard. Thank you, Steve. How do you grow the beard? Stop shaving. How do you grow such a thick, lush beard? Dude, I think it's in my genes. Right? It's just in my genes. I'm actually still a little sick. I was feeling really good until yesterday. Last night I started coughing, and I probably OD'd on codeine, at least what I'm supposed to take. But I couldn't stop coughing. I've been coughing all day. So I'm going to go back to the doctor because I think my antibiotics have run out. So I'm going to go get checked out and make sure it's not walking pneumonia, which is what he thought it was. All right. What can you do to increase your credit score? It is Christmas time. So I'm going to go over some tips, some tricks. Number one, don't be applying for store credit. Okay, don't be applying for JCPenney's, Victoria's Secrets, Target, none of those things, because it's just going to hurt you in the end. You know, I watched a podcast last night, and a guy named Ed Milet was on there, and it was Confessions of an Entrepreneur with Grant Cardone, and you know, he's like, what are some of the mistakes you made? He's like, you know, when I was younger, I took shortcuts, and every single time I did the shortcut, it set me, you know, back, and it made things worse. So don't shortcut. That's what I'm getting at with these department store cards. Yeah, I might save $10, $20, but it's not worth it. It's going to set you back. It's going to add a new account, which is going to show up as an inquiry, which we really don't care about inquiries, right? You guys know that. I go over this. 90% of all inquiries are completely ignored, so we don't even care about inquiries. But it is going to add an inquiry, but it's also going to add a new account to your credit. And if you're like the attorney I talked to yesterday, was in the high 7s, now he's in the low 6s, it's all because all of his credit cards are brand new, less than a year old. What happens if the account's less than 2 years old? 90% of all derogatories happen within the first 2 years, so it puts you in a lower scorecard. So you don't want to just be applying for credit haphazardly just because someone says you get $5 off or you get a coupon. It's not worth it, I'm telling you. It's not worth it. I guarantee after I talk to this attorney, he now realizes it's not worth it. He's trying to refinance a bunch of apartment complexes or duplexes, whatever they are, and it's going to cost them a point per loan. 1 point. So how much is that? Well, on each one it's like $400,000, $500,000. So it's $4 or $5 grand because he wanted to get some new credit cards at 0% interest. Bad move, right? So don't do it. The other thing you don't want to do is you got to be careful with your credit cards right now. It's Christmas time. I know you want to use your credit card, but you got to be really careful with that because if you max out those cards, even if you only max out one, it is going to drop your credit score. Now, if you're not applying for new credit, you're not planning on getting a new car, you're not getting a new house, not moving into a new rental, not trying to get credit cards, not trying to get a business loan. You're literally not trying to get any credit for the next 30 days. Then max away, baby. Max away. Get all those points that you can get. But just know, come next month, if you don't pay those suckers off early, your scores are going to pay for it. And it's going to take you another month to recover. But the moment you pay them off and they report, you'll recover. But not until after they're paid off and after they report. Because you could pay them off on the 2nd. You max off the credit cards, your payment's due on the 28th of the following month. You pay it off early on the 2nd, but they reported to the bureaus on the 1st. Hey, baby, you got another month. You got another month because you paid a day after they reported. So you got to watch for that. What can you do to find out when they report? Simply call them. Hey, Capital One, what day of the month do you report? Report what? What day of the month do you report my balances, my payment history to the credit bureaus? Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. What day of the month? They'll tell you. So sorry. I apologize for that. But they'll tell you what day of the month and just make sure it's paid off by that day. Okay. Here's one of the cool things with credit cards today. Back in the day, they told you when your due date was. And that was it, man. You didn't have a choice. Today, you can pick your due date. You just call them up, say, hey, man, I need to change my due date because I get paid on the 1st and the 15th. And I need to change the payment date, due date. So I pay my rent on the 1st, but my due date's the 4th. Can I move it to the 16th because I get paid on the 1st and 15th? They're sure, no problem. They can't do that every month, but you can do it once. I did that recently with my American Express because, we charge our clients on the 15th. So today we charge thousands of clients. Hundreds of them will come back insufficient funds or non-sufficient funds in a couple days. Then we'll be on the phones for the next 30 days trying to collect money from people who don't pay their bills. And what's the chances of them not paying us? Pretty high. But that's just how our business works. We fix your credit first and bill you later. And some people just don't pay us. They didn't pay their bills. They didn't pay their Capital One card. They're not going to pay me either. But so what I did was, we charge on the 15th. It batches. I get my money about 5 days later. So I changed my due date because it used to be due on the 14th. The problem was that with that is I bill on the 15th. I get paid on the 20th to 22nd, depending on weekends. And so American Express said, hey, no problem. Your due date now is the 28th of the month, which is beautiful for me because by then I have the money to pay off that $200,000 Amex bill that we use to pay my employees. I pay my rent with it. I pay my car insurance with it. I pay all my advertising. So we pay everything that we can with American Express, and so it's usually a couple $100,000. So it's important that you can manage that. So what am I getting at is you can manage when your due date is. Just simply ask. That's all you got to do. Call and ask. Be polite, be professional, and ask. All right, any other questions for you guys? I got so many things I can talk about. I just don't want to. I want to give you what you need because I don't know what you don't know. And you probably don't know what you don't know because if you knew what you didn't know, you would know it. So ask me a question that you don't know. And then maybe I can give you the answer so you will know it. I know there's a bunch in there. I get millions of miles a year, Lillian. It's pretty freaking cool. That's pretty much how I use. That's how I fly. Michelle and I fly first class pretty much anywhere we go. We stay at really nice resorts because if you don't use those points, you lose them. It's kind of like in the military. When I was in the military, we would literally get in the helicopter and we would like load it down with 50 cal ammo because I was a door gunner when I was in Oregon, and we would go out and blow some stuff up, if you know what I mean. We'd take multiple barrels with this because they would be so hot and red they'd start to melt. And if we didn't use that ammo, we wouldn't get new ammo for the following year. And it's kind of like that with the points, is if you don't use them, you lose them. So why would I fly coach and take the chance of losing the points? I don't want to do that. So I burn them up as fast as I can. The other thing is they can, just like with terms and conditions on credit cards, they can instantly change the terms and conditions and take those points away from you. So I use them as I get them. I don't stock them up for years. I heard something. So Ricardo has a great question here. I heard something about it being illegal to do credit repair. Hold on, I got to get back to that. I heard something about it being illegal for credit repair companies to charge clients ahead of time. Any strategies that you would have a credit repair company? I think what you're asking is you've heard that it's illegal for credit repair companies to charge up front. And is there any strategies to where it's not illegal? Here's what I'll tell you what my mentor and friend Mike Citron says. Stop breaking the law. Don't do it. Is there a strategy around not charging up front? No, it's illegal. It's been illegal for 20 plus years. There's still companies that do it. They'll call it a setup fee. They'll call it a retainer fee. They call it an interview fee. They call it all kind of crazy things. And guess what happens? Every single time, the government comes in and takes their shit. And then they throw them in prison. It doesn't matter if you're charging $100 up front or $1 million up front. If you charge 1 penny up front, it is illegal in all 50 states. Period. But are there companies that do it? Yeah, they're just not very big companies, because the moment they get big and they get one complaint, the whole house of cards comes crumbling down. And maybe they got their money overseas, or maybe they got it in Bitcoin so they can hide it from the government, but they will lose their shit eventually. It's just how it works. So can you charge up front, Ricardo? No, you can't. Can you come up with a way to charge up front? No, it's illegal. You know, it's a great question. It's a really good question. So I'm not criticizing you on the question. It's really good for everybody watching right now to know it's illegal for companies to charge up front, regardless if you give them permission, regardless of the dollar amount. It is illegal. It's like, how do I get around getting drunk and getting in my truck and driving? I don't. It's illegal. Well, let's just say that, you know, I'm driving under the speed limit. No, it's still illegal. Well, what if I call my truck a vessel? Well, it's still illegal. Well, what if I don't have my driver's license on me? Well, it's still illegal. See what I'm getting at on that? So it's a great question, Ricardo. Really good question. Because there are people all the time that call the office after they paid up front, and then they want us to discount our rates. This is always funny. Can you just do mine for free because I got ripped off? No, we can't do it for free. Can I get a discount? No, because I still got to pay money. You know, can I pay Jason a discount? Can I pay Vanessa a discount? No. I'm sorry you got ripped off, but you should know better. You don't pay up front on credit repair. It's been that way for 20 plus years. Great question. Let's see, Lillian. When's the best time to apply for a credit card? You know, I would guess, and I will tell you when I know things to be factual, and when I'm guessing, and I'm going to do a hypothetical guess here. I think I said that right. Maybe I should say not hypothetical. I don't know if you guys know this. I have a PhD. Did you know that? I told that to a doctor down in Cozumel when I was down there on a business board meeting trip, doing 11 scuba diving dives in that time that I was there, at an all-inclusive 4-star resort, all tax deductible, by the way, because I ran it through the business, and we were there on business working on our marketing plan and our board meeting. And I told the doctor there, the surgeon, that I had a PhD. And he's like, really? What's your PhD in? I'm like, public high school diploma. He didn't think it was that funny. I thought it was pretty damn funny. But I do have a PhD, so I know it's not a hypothetical guess. It is a scientific guess. Here's my scientific guess to that question. When is the best time to apply for a credit card? I would say probably sometime after Halloween and before Christmas. If your credit score, if you're not maxed out on your credit cards. That's when I would say the best time to get a credit card would be between Halloween and Christmas. Because most likely they're going to want you to charge up the cards. And the way these banks work is when they loan you money and you charge up that card, it gets to go on their asset side of the balance sheet. Do you know that? Even though you haven't paid it yet, it goes on the asset side. See, when you owe someone money, you're an asset to that person. You're an asset to the bank. So I would think the best time to get a credit card, and I don't have any scientific proof to this, it's simply an educated guess, but I would guess between Halloween and Christmas would be the best time to get a card, simply because they want to close out the year with as much profit as possible, and so they can show your credit card balance as an asset. If you don't use it, it actually just shows up as a liability because it's potential liability out there. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see if there's another one here on a Friday night around that. So you got my humor on that, Ricardo. You can't get around it. You know, people do it all the time. Oh, here's another great question, Ricardo. If you like a chance of winning some silver tomorrow, I might be driving back to Las Vegas if we get everything done at the vacation rental here, but no guarantees there. But share the video, hashtag Fortress Credit Pro, and tag a friend. So you want to do all three of those things, preferably in the same line.
Oh, we're going.
Share it. Michelle's cold. Share the video. Share the video. Tag a friend. Hashtag Fortress Credit Pro, and you will be entered into the drawing to win some hard, cold money. Cold because it's out here in Tahoe. Hot if it was next to fire. Let's see. Ricardo says, how do you guarantee that you will get paid each month? Man.
That's our clientele. No guarantees.
Here's the thing. 17% of the people who hire me,
Don't pay their bills.
who I take a risk on, 100% of my clients don't pay their bills on time for whatever reason, not judging. 17% of those people don't pay me either. They didn't pay Capital One for their big screen TV. They didn't pay for their Lexus. They didn't pay for their house. They didn't pay for the hospital bill that saved their life. They didn't pay me either, and it's just the way it is. She turned down my fire.
I can't get too close to light my hair on fire.
I was getting cold, and she just turned it down on me.
I thought you were wrapping up. We got stuff to do.
So how do you guarantee they're going to pay me? They don't, man. Here's the thing, Ricardo. It's the craziest thing. If you hire someone to fix your credit, and the dude knows how to remove negative information, like really bad shit, tax liens, judgments, bankruptcies, foreclosures, collections, judgments, repos, if they know how to remove it, and then you want to screw them over and not pay that person or that company, I mean, think about that. If I know how to remove it, couldn't I cause some serious damage if I wanted to? If I really wanted to put it all back, could I do it? Absolutely. I could put every single line item back if I wanted to, but it's not worth it. It's not worth the drama. It's not worth the headache. It's not worth even thinking about it. 17% of the people who hire me don't pay me. Done. It's the last I even think about them. All right? But ACH payments, How often should you ask your credit card company for limit increases? Great question, Steve. Great question. I would ask every 6 months, and generally it does not impact your credit score. So he says, how often should you ask credit card companies for credit line increase, and how do the increases affect your credit score? The increases would have an impact on your credit score in a positive way. So if you have a $2,000 credit limit and you owe $1,000 and they increase it to $5,000, your score is going to go up because your utilization rate went down. Generally speaking, they do soft inquiries, so the inquiries don't really impact you. No one even knows. They just log into a soft inquiry and they increase it. So I would do it every 6 months. Every 6 months. And make sure that when you do it, your scores are as high as possible, that all your cards are paid off or paid down below 10%. Okay? If you don't know what your scores are, lots of websites can get it for you. Our website, creditmojo.com, we just did a revamp today, 9.0. So check out creditmojo.com. Brand new look, lots more features on it. It's really cool. Creditmojo.com is one of our companies. We're the first credit repair company that's ever got the credit bureaus to give us access to credit, all 3 credit reports and sell it as our own service. Because it is. I own Credit Mojo. So instead of you going to freecreditreport.com, come to me. And you get some free stuff like free credit repair for life if something ever happens to your credit. As long as you're a Credit Mojo user, I'll fix your credit for free. Is there a way to get out of a school loan from Navient who got it from Sally Mae? That's a great question. Who asked that question? Joshua Parker. Yeah, I mean, if it's private student loan, I can wipe it out. That's no big deal. In fact, we had a guy call me today. He's got $36,000 in credit card debt. We wiped it out. His payments were almost $1,500 a month. Now they're $500 a month. So we saved him $1,000 a month and wiped out all the interest, wiped out all the late fees, everything gone. And we can do the same thing up to $500,000 on student loans and credit cards. So yeah, we can wipe out. It just depends on who owns that loan. If it's the U.S. Department of Education, brother, you're screwed. You got to come up with a way to pay it because you owe Uncle Sam. Piled higher and deeper. That's right. Hey, thanks, Sherry, for those kind words. If you're charging clients after work is done, how do you guarantee they're paying a timely manner? Man, I'm telling you, they don't. I can't guarantee anything. The only thing I can guarantee my clients, I always want to guarantee, right? It's kind of funny. These are people that didn't, and again, I'm not judging. So please don't think I'm judging, because I was there before. And that's why I have the lifestyle that I have, is because I'm able to help people fix their problems. I'm the fixer. But it's always funny when people want me to guarantee that I can fix it when it should be me asking them to guarantee they're going to pay me because they haven't paid their other bills in the past. Not judging. I'm just saying. Why do I have to guarantee you anything? You should guarantee me you're going to pay me. Because here's my guarantee. I will not bill you a dime unless I actually delete something from your credit report. That's it. That's my guarantee. You don't pay me unless I delete it. If I don't delete anything, there's no monthly fee, there's no setup fee, there's no retainer fee, there's no management fee, there's no audit fee, there's no review fee. And these are how these companies, they come up with upfront fees. They come up all these ways to get around CROA, the Credit Repair Organizational Act. It's easier to just follow the law than it is to figure out ways to break the law and not get caught. It's just easier to follow the law. Great question, though. 17% don't pay. Bad karma is absolutely right. And I could put every single thing back if I wanted to, but should you consolidate student loans? Here's my thing on that, CJ. Great question. If you need to talk to me before you consolidate those loans, because if those are private student loans, I can wipe them out without consolidating, just gone, right? Doesn't destroy your credit. You don't have to pay taxes on it. It's not going to keep you from ever getting a loan or in a federal loan or a federal job, which it will if you default on U.S. Department of Ed. So do not consolidate those until you talk to me, CJ, because you need to find out if they're private or federal. If they are all federal, every single one of those 23 loans are U.S. Department of Ed, then yes, consolidate them. But I would put money on it right here in front of you, all you thousands of people. I'll put money on it right now They're not all federal. There's some private student loans in there because 80% of all student loans are private, and the U.S. government is selling them to the banks, just like they used to do with the mortgages through Fannie Mae, Freddie, and VA. They were selling them to the stock market, and then investors were buying as A-rated stocks and bonds and mutual funds, and they weren't. The government's doing the same damn thing right now with student loans. 80% of federal student loans are sold onto the stock market. And if they're sold, we can wipe them out. Let's see what this question is. If I have an unsecured business loan and I'm behind, can't pay right now, what can they do to you since I signed personal guarantee, but even if I don't own anything but a house? One thing, they can't come to your house. I'm not an attorney. Okay, this is not legal advice. I'm just telling you my opinion as an entrepreneur that's deleted over 1 million items for over 10,000 people. They're not going to come after your house. Most likely they can't. The other thing is, if you signed a personal guarantee, they're going to put it on your personal credit. We can get rid of business loans as long as it's with a bank. I can't get rid of a business loan if it's with your best friend or your brother-in-law or your sister-in-law or your neighbor. But if it's with a bank, I can get rid of that business loan as well, just like we can with credit cards. So you can direct message me here, CJ, or call 1-800-475-7267, 1-800-475-7267, or call me. And DM me tomorrow. Just DM me, and I'll call you tomorrow. I got a 7-hour drive to Tahoe or back to Vegas, so I'll call you tomorrow. Looks like that's everybody's questions, unless somebody else has got one here. JR, welcome. You got any credit, financial, or tax questions? Thank you for coming on. I appreciate that. If you have any questions, post it in there. This is a safe place. We're just trying to help some people have a better life, how to manage their credit, their taxes. Do you see the House and the Senate release the details on the new tax reform bill? My taxes are going to go up. A lot of wealthy people's taxes are going to go up. Corporate taxes are going to go down, which means wages for the middle class and the poor will go up. Taxes for the poor and the middle class will go down. But for the upper middle class and the wealthy, your taxes are more than likely going to go up. But hey, you know what? You can afford it, right? But at least it's getting fairer. It's not so one-sided. California, man. Those rich folks in California, it's even worse. Do you know in California that 90%, I read this on a tax website in California. This was actually official, not a bullshit survey made up number on stage somewhere, but an actual study done by Entrepreneurs Association of California, because California has won for 12 years in a row the worst place to start a business. 12 years in a row. Congratulations, California. 12 years in a row, you've been voted the worst place to own a business. But 90%, 90% of people who live in California pay, boom, 0 income tax. Think about that. Do you live in California? I know Lillian does. Lillian, I know you're paying taxes. Do you think it's fair that 90% of the people around you don't pay taxes? Do you know 90% of all taxes in California are paid by the 10%? Lillian's one of the 10%. There's a few of you others on here. 90% of people who live in California pay 0 income taxes. And now, the fact that you can't write off your state income tax, which is the highest on the planet, at 13.5, and it's actually going up now. Now you can't write that off on your federal, and you can't write off your property tax, and you can't write off your registration fees, and you can't write off a whole bunch of other stuff. What do you think is going to happen to the real estate market in California when the wealthy, like Ed Milet, who's just there because his kids are there, and he's paying $5-10 million a year in taxes. He's got his own jet. He's got 5 different houses throughout the world. He can live anywhere he wants. Instead, he lives in a beach house in Laguna for his daughter. Is it really worth $10 million, Ed, for your daughter to live in Laguna? Hell, man. Go out, fly your jet out, pick up the kids, and fly them back to Vegas every weekend. It's a hell of a lot cheaper. And you can probably write that off because it would be a business expense because you're going there to do some business. You just happen to pick up your daughter's best friend, her bestie, and fly her back to Vegas. What do you think is going to happen to the real estate market in California when the wealthy who are paying 90% of all income tax in California, when they finally say, you know what? Enough's enough. I'm done with this place. I'm moving to Texas. I'm moving to Oregon. I'm moving to Idaho. I'm moving to Nevada. Or wherever they're going to move. Because if you have that kind of money, you can live anywhere. If you don't have a brick and mortar store, and it's internet-based or technology-based, I mean, that's how I ended up in Nevada. They quadrupled my income tax, and I'm like, screw this. I went and bought a damn airplane and said, see ya, California. I moved to Lake Tahoe, and instead of me commuting via car, I just got my airplane. An hour and a half later, I was in San Diego. Do my radio show, get back in the plane, fly home. And the amount of money that I saved in the taxes paid off the airplane and paid off my beach house here in Tahoe. When is California people going to say enough's enough? I think it's coming. I think you're going to see it. And if you live in California, man, if I was you, I'd be selling my house like tomorrow. I'd be interviewing real estate agents tomorrow and putting it on the market and getting the hell out of the real estate market because I think it's coming. I think that crash, that correction is coming, and it's going to hit California first, and then it's going to hit New York and New Jersey, some of the other places. Anyway, I don't see any more questions here. I don't want to get too far off on a crazy tangent. So I'm going to take off. I appreciate you. If you want a chance at winning some silver, some real money, I know it's not Bitcoin, but tomorrow it will be worth what it's worth. It's not going to crash. It never has, never will. It does go up in value, it does go down in value, but it's really because the fiat currency goes up and down. With the Federal Reserve raising interest rates today, this actually went up, right? Where the fiat currency went down. Whenever the U.S. dollar goes down, this goes up. So if you want a chance of winning some free silver, share the video, tag a friend, #Fortress Credit Pro. Stay tuned, turn on your notifications. See you tomorrow.